A major shift is bubbling beneath the surface at Ibrox, and it's got everyone inside the club whispering with excitement as Russell Martin continues to carve out a new identity for his Rangers side. Ahead of the new campaign, word is spreading fast that the Light Blues are on the brink of sealing a deal that could seriously level up their attacking options. We're not talking about any routine transfer window signing here. This one has the feel of a game changer. Weeks of speculation, interest from all directions, and now it seems Rangers have pulled out in front. If everything goes smoothly over the coming days, one of the most talked about teenage talent in British football could be walking through the doors at Ibrox. But before diving into this potential blockbuster move, let's take a closer look at someone who's already there, who's been through the ups and downs, and who's ready to fight for his place again. Jack Butland, the 32-year-old shot stopper, has been candid about the bumps in his journey since arriving in Glasgow. His debut campaign was solid enough, showing flashes of the quality that once made him England's #1, but last season a different story. Inconsistent performances, moments where the confidence looked shaken, and ultimately losing his place to Liam Kelly. For many players, that could have marked the beginning of the end, but not for Butland. He spoke recently about his mindset, and it was clear he's got unfinished business at Ibrox. He's not looking for excuses. He's not pretending everything's been perfect. Quite the opposite. He admits it hasn't been the smoothest ride, neither for him nor for the team, but what stands out is the determination. There's a fire in him to prove he belongs, and not just as a squad player, but as a leader between the posts. After all the speculation about whether he'd even stick around, whether a new manager might bring in his own #1, Butland showed up for preseason ready to compete, not just to hang on but to stake a claim and credit where it's due. His recent performance against Panathinaikos in the Champions League qualifier was a reminder of what he's capable of when he's locked in, commanding his box, sharp reflexes, crucial saves at key moments. He looked every bit the experienced keeper Rangers need in big European nights. That match ended with a 2-0 advantage for the Gers heading into the second leg in Athens, and Butland played a massive role in securing that cushion. But it wasn't just about the saves. It was the body language, the presence, the calm confidence that seemed to radiate from him again. As he said himself, he felt like he'd got his belief back, not in a cocky way, not in a forced swagger, but in that quiet, assured way that real pros carry themselves. It's clear he doesn't see himself as a fading veteran. He sees this season as a new chapter. Whatever managerial changes have come, whatever external noise there's been, he's made it clear he wants to be at Rangers. Not just physically, but mentally. He's not looking for an exit or an escape. He's looking for a platform to perform. And with the backing of Russell Martin, who gave him the start in the preseason opener, it feels like Butland's been handed that platform. Now it's on him to hold on to it. But while Butland's resurgence is a story worth following, it's the transfer front that's really grabbing headlines right now. The name on everyone's lips, Mikey Moore, 17 years old, electric pace, dazzling feet, and a reputation that's been steadily growing inside Tottenham's academy setup. For anyone who's been tracking youth football in England, Moore isn't a new discovery. He's been earmarked as one of Spurs' brightest prospects in recent memory. And now Rangers are closing in on securing him on loan, a move that, if confirmed, could be a massive statement from Russell Martin. This wouldn't be just another kid coming up north to get a few minutes off the bench. This feels targeted, strategic. Moore isn't looking for a casual loan spell. He wants real minutes, real pressure, real football, and Glasgow offers exactly that. For Rangers, it's a chance to inject more pace and unpredictability into their wide areas. Martin's made no secret of his desire to bring flair and intensity to his forward line. The links to players like Grady Diangana, David Brooks, and Crystal Palace's Jessarun Raksaki show exactly what type of profile he's chasing. Moore fits that mold perfectly, and with a medical reportedly scheduled, this one looks closer than ever. Of course, there's already been movement out wide. The arrival of Jeff Gassama has added depth, and academy graduate Finlay Curtis has lit up preseason with his energy and eye for goal. Curtis, only 18, was brilliant in that same win over Panathinaikos, scoring a stunning goal and showcasing the type of talent that can't be ignored. And that's where things get interesting, because if Moore does arrive, Martin will be juggling two exciting young wingers. One temporary, one homegrown. It's a delicate balance. Curtis is the long-term investment, a product of the Rangers system, someone the fans are already rallying behind. Moore, while oozing quality, is only here on loan. So the question becomes, how do you develop both without sacrificing one? But maybe Martin doesn't have to choose. If he can manage their minutes, tailor their roles, and foster healthy competition, he could be looking at a dream scenario to fearless explosive talents, pushing each other week in week out, and that depth on the flanks could be the difference in a season where Rangers will be fighting on multiple fronts. But Moore's move hasn't come without competition. Rangers reportedly beat out strong interest from several English Championship sides. Birmingham City, Charlton Athletic, West Bromwich Albion, and Coventry City were all circling. That tells you just how highly rated Moore is, and it tells you just how serious Rangers are about not being left behind. This isn't about filling a squad spot, it's about staying ahead of the curve. If the deal goes through, it'll be one of the standout captures of the summer window in Scottish football. Now, while eyes are glued to that potential signing, there's another name that's surfaced on the radar: Oliver Antman. The Finnish international has been catching attention with his performances for Go Ahead Eagles in the Eredivisie. Last season, he notched 15 assists, a stat that speaks volumes about his creativity and end product. Rangers are said to be monitoring the situation closely. But here's where things get murky. Reports initially suggested that a deal was nearly done, that Rangers had moved decisively and were on the brink of securing his signature. Naturally, that sparked a wave of excitement. Fans were picturing a new look front line, imagining Antman threading passes through tight defenses at Ibrox. But just as quickly as the rumors picked up steam, they were doused with cold water. Sources close to the Dutch club have since denied that any agreement has been reached. In fact, they insist that no formal offer has even been made. Go Ahead Eagles are holding firm, reportedly valuing their star man north of £5 million, a significant outlay but not out of reach for Rangers if they're convinced of the player's value and potential resale. As it stands, though, it's a waiting game. Antman looks destined to move on this summer. The only question is whether it'll be to Glasgow or somewhere else. For Rangers, the interest is real, but they're yet to show their hand. For some supporters, the lack of movement will be frustrating. After all, we're deep into the window now, and there's a growing sense that Rangers need one or two more pieces to really complete the puzzle. But there's still time. And the fact that names like Antman and Moore are even on the table shows the ambition at play. These aren't stopgap solutions. These are players with profiles that fit the long-term project. Young, dynamic, with plenty of upside. That's the blueprint Ibrox's recruitment team has been working with for the past few seasons. The next few weeks will be crucial. Whether it's more Antman or another surprise target, Russell Martin clearly has a vision. A squad that blends youth and experience, grit and guile, homegrown hunger and external flair. He's not just rebuilding, he's reshaping, reimagining what this Rangers team can be both domestically and in Europe. And if this transfer business plays out the way it's shaping up, fans might soon be witnessing the beginning of a new era. One built not only on names and numbers, but on identity, intent, and belief. Right then, let's keep diving deeper into this unfolding Rangers story. Because what's happening behind the scenes at Ibrox right now feels like more than just a few transfer tweaks. It's the start of something quite bold. You can sense the shift, not just in the type of players being targeted, but in the way the club is approaching the market, the messaging, and the mentality under Russell Martin. There's a clear desire to modernize, to build something with purpose and identity, not just throw money at problems. And with the names currently being lined up, that vision is beginning to take shape in a very real way. We've talked about Mikey Moore and what his potential arrival means, but it's worth zooming out a bit and looking at this in the context of the wider rebuild. Because Martin's not just building a team for August. He's clearly trying to establish a foundation that can grow over multiple seasons. And when you start layering young talents like Moore and Finlay Curtis alongside more experienced operators, you get a real sense of a hybrid squad taking shape. The kind of squad that can compete in the short term while developing for the long haul. Curtis in particular deserves more spotlight. It's one thing to be a promising academy graduate, but it's another to seize the moment when it arrives, and that's exactly what he's done so far this preseason. His goal against Panathinaikos wasn't just a nice strike, it was a statement, a young lad stepping into a European fixture under pressure and showing zero fear. That speaks volumes about his mentality, and you can bet Russell Martin noticed it. Managers always look for players who can handle the weight of expectation. Curtis not only handled it, he thrived. That changes the equation going forward. Now, if more does come in, it's not a threat to Curtis, it's an opportunity. The best sides are built on internal competition. Players pushing each other, fighting for places, knowing that the bar is constantly being raised. That's how you maintain standards across a long season, and make no mistake, Rangers will need that depth. Between the Scottish Premiership, the domestic cups, and potentially a run in Europe, minutes will be there. What matters is whether the manager can create an environment where these young players are trusted, supported, and challenged. And speaking of being challenged, Jack Butland's story feels like the perfect example of what happens when a player refuses to be written off. There were genuine questions about his place in the team coming into this summer. Liam Kelly had earned his spot, and many assumed a new manager would look elsewhere. Butland didn't sulk. He didn't look for an escape route. He turned up early, put in the work, and now he's reminding everyone of what he's capable of. His performance against Panathinaikos wasn't just solid, it was authoritative. That's the kind of showing that earns trust not just from the manager, but from the dressing room. And in a position as critical as goalkeeper, that trust is everything. But what makes this squad build so interesting is how balanced the strategy appears. You've got the experience of guys like Butland anchoring the spine, and then you've got injection of youth and pace out wide, which is clearly a priority for Martin. His interest in players like Grady Diangana and Jessarun Raksaki shows he's targeting technical ability and owning own quality, players who can beat a man, create something out of nothing, and give Rangers that edge in tight matches. That kind of direct threat has arguably been missing in recent seasons. Take someone like Oliver Antman, for example. His name might not carry the same weight as some of the Premier League loanees floating around, but his numbers in the Eredivisie tell the story. 15 assists last season for go-ahead Eagles. That's not a fluke. That's consistent fin-out-third production in a league that demands sharpness and decision-making. Rangers haven't always recruited well from the Dutch market, but Antman seems like a player who fits the model. He's 23, already capped for Finland, and clearly has room to grow. There's a reason he's drawing attention, and it's not just from Scotland. What makes the Antman situation frustrating for fans is the sense of mixed signals. 1 minute it feels like the deal is nearly done, the next minute it's being denied by sources close to the Dutch club. That uncertainty creates tension, especially in a fan base as passionate and engaged as Rangers. Supporters want clarity. They want to know if the club is truly pushing to land a player of that profile, or if it's another case of interest without intent. But even without a formal bid on the table yet, the fact that Antman is being seriously monitored is a good sign. It shows ambition, not just for the present, but for the future resale model that the club has been trying to get right. That resale value conversation is one Rangers can't afford to ignore anymore. The days of spending big on aging players with little return have to be over. Clubs like Celtic have pulled ahead in recent years precisely because they've cracked the code by young, develop, sell smart. Rangers have started to make progress in that direction, but signings like Antman would be a signal that they're fully committing to it. You bring in a player at 23, give him the platform to shine in Europe. And if he hits, you're not just getting goals and assists, you're getting a financial asset. Of course, all of this only works if the squad clicks on the pitch. That's where Russell Martin really comes into focus. His task isn't just about assembling talent. It's about creating chemistry, structure, and belief, and early signs are promising. There's a noticeable energy about the team in preseason. The press is sharper, the movement more deliberate, and the overall shape looks more modern. That doesn't mean everything's perfect, far from it, but there's a visible intent. You can tell the players are buying in. They're not just running through drills, they're engaging with the process. That's the power of a manager with a clear footballing philosophy. Martin's spell at Swansea might not have brought silverware, but it did show his ability to build a defined style even with limited resources. Now, with the backing of a bigger club, more robust infrastructure, and a fanbase hungry for success, he has a real chance to put those ideas into action at scale, and let's be honest, he'll need to. Celtic remain the benchmark in Scotland. To topple them, Rangers need more than moments. They need consistency, identity, and a squad built to last. This window will be remembered as the first true imprint of Russell Martin's era. Not just for who he signs, but for what kind of culture he builds. Do players feel like they have a clear role? Is there a pathway from the academy to the first team? Are the fans seeing football that reflects the values of the badge? Intense, courageous, technically sharp, those are the real markers of progress. And from what we've seen so far, it looks like that process is underway. There's also an emotional component that can't be ignored. Rangers fans aren't just watching for results, they're watching for hope, for something to believe. And again, the post-Garrett era has been turbulent. Moments of promise, moments of frustration, but not much consistency. This rebuild, this realignment, offers a fresh canvas. And with young, hungry players at the core, there's a different kind of buzz this time, one rooted in potential, not just nostalgia. That's why signings like Mikey Moore and the pursuit of someone like Antman matter so much. They're more than just additions, they're signals. Signals that Rangers aren't content to tread water, that they want to move forward, play differently, think differently, they want to modernize without losing their soul. That's a tough balance to strike, but it's the right ambition to have. And if they get it right, if Martin and the recruitment team can keep identifying the right blend of youth and experience, then Ibrox could soon become one of the most exciting places in British football again, not just for what it's been, but for what it's becoming. Transfers will come and go, form will fluctuate, but identity lasts. And right now, Rangers are starting to carve out a new one. It's early days, sure. There will be bumps along the way, but with the right vision, the right leadership, and a squad built on trust and hunger, there's a real sense that something's building in Glasgow. Something fans can get behind. Something that feels like it might just be worth the wait. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. There's a quiet rumble stirring the transfer pot in the Scottish football scene. And this time it comes from across the channel. Rumors are swirling that PSV's seasoned striker, LUUK Jong, could be eyeing a sensational move to Ibrox after finding himself in an unexpected and rather humbling situation in Eindhoven. The Dutch forward, once hailed as the towering talisman of PSV's front line, has reportedly fallen out of favor at the Philips Stadion. Sources close to the Eredivisie club suggest that De Jong is no longer central to Peter Bosch's tactical plans, with younger, more dynamic options getting the nod in recent matches. It's been a bruising fall from grace for the veteran, who not so long ago was scoring in European finals and leading the line with typical Dutch efficiency. But here's where it gets interesting for Rangers supporters. Whispers from within the players' camp indicate that De Jong has quietly offered his services to the Glasgow Giants. That's right, the 6 feet to inches striker, with experience in La Liga and the Bundesliga, is apparently keen on resurrecting his career in the heart of Govan. Whether it's the lure of European nights at Ibrox, the passion of the Gers faithful, or simply the chance to prove himself once again, no one can say for sure. But the chatter suggests there's real intent behind the scenes, of course. Rangers haven't commented officially, and with Danilo still recovering, Desser's yet to fully convince, and rumors of fresh attacking reinforcements continuing to swirl, it remains to be seen whether De Jong fits into Felipe Clement's plans. There's also the matter of wages and whether the Dutchman would be willing to take a financial dip to trade the bright lights of Eindhoven for the grit and glamour of Scottish football. Still, stranger things have happened in football. And while some in the PSV camp see his self-offering to Rangers as a sign of desperation, others believe De Jong simply wants to play where he's wanted, and in Glasgow, he might just find a crowd ready to sing his name. Only time will tell if this curious rumor has legs, but for now, it's one that's got the Ibrox faithful talking. Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC, and don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.